Next Monday, my administration will present the city's equitable, affordable housing plan to the Richmond City Council. This plan lays out guiding principles, necessary policy changes, and new programs to serve Richmonders across the spectrum of housing needs. I've long said housing is a human right and also a vaccine for poverty. This plan was built on that same understanding, and its innovative proposals make that abundantly clear. So I'm excited about the systems-changing policies my administration is dedicated to. I'll just list a few. We're planning on lobbying for and adopting inclusionary zoning ordinances for the city of Richmond and the Commonwealth of Virginia, supporting tax rebates for new construction, and that includes affordable units within market rate developments, promoting resident ownership in RRHA communities, amending the zoning ordinance to reflect an inclusive and compassionate city by replacing the city-sponsored cold overflow shelter with a network of year-round shelters, and allowing religious institutions to shelter those experiencing homelessness without time limits within our city limits. The plan proposes resident-centric programs that fight the effects of gentrification and promote stable housing throughout the city. We're also going to be pursuing the following: an anti-displacement grant program to help longtime residents stay in their lifelong neighborhoods, a permanent rent assistance program tied to participation in the city's workforce development program, a land for lodging initiative for nonprofits to acquire city-owned land at nominal cost to develop affordable housing. This is all just a hint of the comprehensive plan you'll see this upcoming Monday as I present it before the City Council. If I had to summarize the goal of this 60-page plan, I say it's this: address the full spectrum of affordable housing needs and realize the creation of 10,000 new affordable housing units over the next 10 years, over the next decade. My administration stands ready to collaborate with housing advocates and community stakeholders to turn that vision into a reality. However, to make significant and lasting change for the most underserved residents of our city, this must be a budgetary priority. I know Mark Robinson's over there. He's probably going to ask soon enough, how are you going to pay for this vision? That's why today, I'm proud to announce that on Monday, alongside the Equitable Affordable Housing Plan, we will introduce an ordinance to establish a dedicated source of funding for the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. Right now, it's incumbent upon the mayor to build an allocation to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund into the budget. In my tenure, I've increased individual allocations to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund by almost 300%, essentially tripling the fund. I did that from $731,000 when I entered the door, fiscal year 2018, to $2.9 million in fiscal year 2020 and fiscal year 2021. Those investments are vital, and I'm proud to have made them. I want to thank Sharon Ebert and her team, the Office of Housing and Community Development as well, on getting us there. However, creating a dedicated funding stream stabilizes these allocations, establishing a floor for these vital programs, not a ceiling. So here's how it will work. The future tax revenues from properties leaving the real property partial tax exemption rehabilitation program will go directly to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund to build new units of affordable housing. So, as properties phase out of their partial tax exempt status, that new revenue will be directed by our finance department to an affordable housing trust fund special fund. Each year, the assessor's office will let the administration and council know what the projected funding amount is. We anticipate that this will be approximately $2 million in fiscal year 2022 and will grow by $2 million every year for the next 5 years, so that in 2025, the amount will be approximately $10 million. This is new revenue, not taken from any other priority, without creating a new tax. This dedicated city funding will leverage other affordable housing from state and federal governments to make possible the creation of 10,000 quality affordable housing units over the course of the next 10 years. And ladies and gentlemen, it is vital we secure this funding mechanism. We all see it and we all know it. Richmond is a growing city. Roughly 30,000 people have moved to our city over the course of the last decade. And that is undeniably a good thing for our city. But we have to recognize that racist systems have ensured that there are whole swaths of Richmond residents that will never benefit from the growth if we do not do something intentional. And this is an intentional effort. As we grow, it is incumbent upon us to ensure our most underserved communities do not get left behind. It's incumbent on us to lift them up as they never have been before. I've been to many of our communities. I've been in the homes of our Black residents, our Latino residents. I've seen the conditions with my own two eyes. And what Maya Angelou has stated in the past, quoted before, once you know better, do the best you can till you know better, and once you know better, do better. This mechanism does better on behalf of those residents who need us the most. So by the end of 2020, we'll have surpassed our goal of 1,500 new affordable housing units under construction by nearly 500 units, 3 years ahead of schedule. I made that commitment in a past state of the city, and I'm proud that we have surpassed that goal 3 years ahead of time. And you can see the poster right here is the work over the last couple years. So step back, 1,990 new affordable housing units since 2017 in the city of Richmond. That seems like a large number, but you all know there's still a need out there. And this policy change for us will answer that need. This is proof that the city is capable of providing quality, affordable housing for the housing insecure, for the houseless and the newcomers of our city. Dedicated funding for the Affordable Housing Trust Fund will take this commitment to the next level. This will turbocharge our investments we've made over the course of the last 3+ years. When every resident of Richmond is securely housed, then every resident of Richmond will truly be able to call this city home. And that's how I feel, from the bottom of my heart. If you feel the same way, tell your council person to support dedicated funding for housing our neighbors in dignified, stable, affordable units right now. Right now. It's time to make it happen. I'll take some questions.
Mark. Thanks for holding this, Mr. Mayor. Just a
I think it will get 2 and 2 and 2 and 2. So by the time we get to 2025, it'll be $10 million in the actual fund.
So the level will stay at $2 million.
I'll have Sharon better explain. I see what you're.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. Sharon Ebert. I'm the Deputy Chief Administrative Officer overseeing the city's planning and economic development agencies. It's cumulative. So in fiscal year 22, we anticipate about $2 million going into the fund, and every year thereafter. So in fiscal year 23, that will grow to $4 million. Then in fiscal year 24, it will grow to $6 million. And by the time we get into fiscal year 26, it will be at $10 million. So it grows cumulatively.
And that's from the abatements rolling off.
Correct.
Program at the end of the.
Correct, based on what the tax assessor has looked at and anticipates.
Is this modeled after a program from another locality or another city around the country?
Not that I know of. Most cities use their bonding capacity, and you can see that in Charlotte, Atlanta, Nashville. All of them have been going and issuing bonds to do affordable housing. We don't have the bonding ability to do so, and so we had to find another dedicated source. You're welcome.
Brett? With the affordable housing, is it going to be like large apartment complexes or kind of houses throughout the city or a combination of both?
The question was, is this going to be large apartment complexes or houses around it? It's going to be a diverse array of different housing styles and units. Some will be rental, some will be affordable home ownership, some will be 2 bedrooms, some will be 3 bedrooms. Every family has their own needs. We want to be able to get those who are maybe living in public housing today, those who might be newcomers to the city, those who might be homeless, all looking for these affordable units, and we want to meet people where they are. And so it'll be a diversity of different offerings, and we're going to be there to help.
So is current housing inventory in the city, or will it be construction as well to fill this?
I believe there'll be construction, obviously, new development. Also, the Affordable Housing Trust Fund also targets the dollars to those who need housing services or whatever. So those who needs dollars to get into current housing as well. So the Affordable Housing Trust Fund is used in many, many ways. So you want to obviously incentivize construction and development of new units, but also get folks housed in units as well.
Will, did you have a question? No. You good? Olivia?
So unrelated, I wanted to ask you about GRTC's announcement today. Can you explain a little bit about what exactly was announced, as well as the importance of accessibility to
Yes.
services?
Yes, today GRTC announced that beginning Wednesday, we're going to be offering riders a safe and accessible service to reach the city's new voter registration site. The Office of the General Registrar. We'll be running shuttles from City Hall here on the hour, I believe beginning in the 7 o'clock hour, and the last shuttle will leave in the 5 o'clock hour. And so this came about through the city facilitating discussions between the General Registrar and GRTC, and the city will help ensure that every voter who needs a ride to the polls needs to access the polls early, before November 3rd, that we're going to be there to get them there.
And could you explain a little bit just the importance of having those services available so people can get to the polls and get to
Yeah.
their registry?
Yeah, the question was if I can explain the importance and the significance of getting people to the polls. Well, first, we recognize that every individual in the city doesn't own a car. I know over 20% of the people who live in the city do not own a vehicle. People own bikes, some people walk. But what we want to provide, though, is an accessible way for them to early vote. This is a great thing that the General Assembly did, the work of the governor as well, to provide this early opportunity to vote, particularly during a pandemic. The new space that the registrar has acquired is a beautiful space, but it's a little out of the way. It was a couple blocks away from the next GRTC bus stop. And so what we want to do was close that last mile or that last half a mile, whatever it may be. And that's what this shuttle will do until November 3rd. And I'm proud of this administration because the last couple of years we've provided free rides. Before our fare free model that we currently are using at GRTC, we provided free rides, funded free rides for our voters on election day. So this is just adding to our work to ensure that everyone has access to the franchise, access to the ballot, and I encourage everyone to use their constitutional rights.
Yeah, so down the road when all this extra housing, affordable housing is complete, are there any plans to remove or tear down the old ports throughout the city? Is that something that is in the foreseeable future?
The question was whether there are any plans to, I don't hate the word tear down, but to rebuild and reimagine public housing in the city of Richmond. And here's the thing, the public housing properties we currently have in the city, what's considered the Big Six, they've been around post-World War II. It was meant to be temporary housing for families, and it's been around since the late 40s, early 50s, all right, that time frame. And the conditions that remain today are what I believe are undignified. We should be treating the people of our city better. And I've been in those units. I've been in units in Gilpin. I've been in units in Creighton. And the fact that those units still remain today in that sort of condition in 2020 speaks a lot about where we are as a city. I appreciate folks recognizing for removing those racist monuments off of Monument Avenue and other parts of our city. But the true racist monuments to our ugly past as a city are those public housing units, those communities. We have to look out for our people and treat them with the respect and dignity they deserve, and that means giving them better conditions. So if a person's living in public housing today, it is my administration's goal to ensure that they have a home tomorrow in this city. We don't want any displacement, but we also want to make sure that our residents get a choice of quality housing wherever they want to live. We want them to live in Richmond, and so my next 4 years as mayor will be focused exactly on that, on ensuring that every individual who lives in public housing today has a high quality public housing in the city tomorrow.
Roughly how many units of affordable housing is the fund currently paying for? I know that map shows all the units across the city, but I know that those draw on other subsidies, like
True.
the low-income housing tax credit through the state.
Yeah. There's a number of subsidies that are mixed to kind of create that number right there today, which we hope to leverage the Affordable Housing Trust Fund in the future to do the same, but just to do more. Sharon, do you have an exact number, or can we get Mark a number on?
I can get him that.
Okay, we'll get you a number on that. Okay. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Stay safe, stay strong.